Hello and welcome. My name is Stoffwecker and today I talk about the new tutorial for... Wait a second. What's that? What's that down there? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's not a tutorial for Hermitpack. This one is for Sky Factory 3 because I actually started playing this amazing mod pack. But if you are a Hermitpack viewer, fear not. Everything I'm going to show here is working for Hermitpack as well. So just stay tuned, and if there are Hermitpack specific details, I will let you know. In fact, I actually have built this one already on a Hermitpack server for one of my subscribers. And the last thing I heard is that he is now flooding the server with soul sand. And you could do that too. This video is going to showcase a build on a very quick and still efficient way to generate soul sand, which you can use in Hermitpack as well as in Sky Factory, for example, to spawn withers. And if you look up in the corner, there's my build for the wither spawner. Or you could also use it in the seas for Sky Factory to generate some nether quartz and other stuff. So there's definitely a use for it. My build is quite overpowered, but that's what modded Minecraft is actually about, so let's do it. The soul sand generation happens in 3 steps. We need cobblestone, sand, and then later soul sand. So let's take a look at the cobblestone generation and the options that we have here. The first option are the cobblestone generators from Tiny Progression. They come in various shapes and colors and have different speeds. So the first version has 30 blocks per tick, then we go to 60, 120, 240 and 1200 blocks of cobblestone per minute. Well, trust me, you don't need the last one, or even that one, or even the diamond one. The iron one, so the tier 2, is actually more than enough for our build. You can of course scale it up and ramp the whole system up to get even more, but that would be just crazy. One drawback is that the cobblestone blocks only work in Sky Factory, so if you're playing Hermitpack, you might want to take a look at the transfer nodes from Extra Utils with the mining upgrade, which is relatively cheap in Sky Factory. In Hermitpack you need some kind of resonator as well, and there's some other stuff you need to do. Basically what you pay is 2 gold ingots and a gold pickaxe. Other option that might be there would be the auto breaker from Actual Editions or the normal block breaker from Random Things. However, you can see the speeds here are way less than this option, and I don't like the nice in the build. It's just too clunky in my opinion. The last option, again only for Sky Factory, are the mystical agriculture plants, and I have a space of 3 by 3, so 9 fields, which generates about 10 blocks per minute. So you would need a field of 7 by 8 at least to come to the speed that we need, so that's 60 blocks per minute. My choice here is clearly the cobblestone generator from Tiny Progressions, simply because it's so compact. It's just one block and has no fire hazard or anything else. And for Hermitpack, definitely the transfer node is the best option for cobble generation, because also with some speed upgrades, you can actually ramp it up to 1200 blocks per minute like the emerald one. Okay, then let's take a look at step number 2, which is making the cobblestone into sand. And those are all the different options that we have. There's quite a lot, and I'm gonna briefly talk about the different ones. Every test that I made was based on the energy or mana generated of 1 coal, and then you can see the results at the screens at the end. For Botania, we have an instant conversion of cobble into sand, and 1 coal was enough to transform 22 cobblestone, but there is no extra, so it's just a 1-to-1 conversion. We have the crusher from Extra Utils, which takes about 20 seconds to fully convert the cobblestone into sand, and when I entered 11 cobblestone, I would be able to craft 11 sand plus 1 gravel, so I have a little bit extra. The next option would be the 2 crushers, so the single crusher and the double crusher from Actual Editions. What's special about those 2 is that they transfer the cobblestone directly into sand. They don't go the step with cobblestone. The single version takes 5 seconds for 1 block, and with 1 coal I could transform 21 cobblestone. No extras though. and the big one, the double crusher, needs 5.5 seconds per block, but he crafts 2 blocks at the same time. However, it takes a lot more energy, so I only was able to transfer 14 cobblestone into sand. And again, no extra. Then we have the segment from Ender.io. Takes about 2 seconds per block, and out of 20 cobblestone that I used, I got 5 gravel, 35 sands, and 5 flint. So, yeah, that's actually pretty neato. You're gonna keep an eye on you. What else do we have here are the auto compressed hammer and the auto hammer from X-Compressum. This one only works in Sky Factory though. The normal hammer transfers 15 blocks into 15 sand within 14 seconds each, and the compressed one takes 4 compressed cobblestone for 1 coal and makes it then into 36 cents. Again, there are no extras, this is just a one-to-one conversion. In Hermitpack you have Mechanism, which I can't show you of course, but this one is actually pretty interesting because you have the different machines, the different crusher types, plus you have the different energy and speed upgrades. If you take the normal crusher with full energy upgrades, it will transform way more cobblestone than the segment actually. However, the crushers will not do any extras. If you then, for example, take the crushing factory with full speed upgrades, you might not be able to transform too much with the energy of 1 coal, but it will be done in an instant. So you can try out this one and see what works best for you. The last option is Sky Factory only again, and it's the Mystical Agriculture. You would need 2 dirt and 2 fire plants to make it into sand. And here I have 10 fields to get an equal number of each, and this one would generate about 15 sand per minute. I think it's obvious the choice here should be actually the Segmill, simply because it has a decent energy conversion and a very good speed, plus it gives the biggest extras. And with that, we are already at the 3rd step. The 3rd step is to make sand into soul sand. In Sky Factory you have the option to use wooden barrels with witch water. Witch water is created by just placing them on mycelium and piping water into them, and you see here it transforms slowly into witch water. And once it's fully transformed, I just pipe in some sand. Give me a second, there we go. Oh, no, I'm missing it. And it will then be transformed into soul sand and taken out from here. It doesn't need any energy or any extra inputs. You just put in the sand and have a reservoir of water, and you're actually good to go. That makes this build actually very attractive. However, it is fairly slow. Only 13 soul sand per minute. I mean, of course, you can simply put on more barrels and make a bigger farm. But maybe that's not the best option here. Another option again are the Mystical Agriculture plants. Again, 3x3 field, and this one generates 8 soul sand per minute. You can make it bigger, and of course, if you do that, you don't need the other plants, so that's might be interesting that you can skip all the other steps. But if you see what I have next, you might change your mind. Here we have my favorite, the Atomic Reconstructor. Right now I'm just giving it a pulse every 80 ticks, so it would then transform all the sand that has been dropped by the precision dropper and then gets collected by the range collector, which is set to only collect soul sand. This one generates about 200 soul sand per minute. Imagine how big those farms would have to be to get to that level. It comes with a decent drawback though. You can see it here. It chugs on a lot of energy. I would guess about 3.5 to 4k might be necessary to keep it running at this speed. So from those 3 options, my personal favorite is of course the Atomic Reconstructor, simply because of the speed and energy. Once you at a specific point, energy is not a big deal anymore. Let's say a solar panel tier 2 is capable of supporting the whole setup anyway. If you are looking for an energy efficient way, definitely the barrels, because they're easy scalable, they don't take much resources, and you can then just increase the size and increase the output. And with that, let's take a peek at my final build. Oh yeah. That beast is producing juicy soul sand and lots of it. What I use here are 3 segments because you would need those 3 to keep up with the iron cobblestone generator. I have the atomic reconstructor here, over there, the dropper and the range collector. In this build there is no timer telling the laser to fire. Instead I'm using a weighted pressure plate to fire the laser whenever there are 14 or more items on the plate. So for that I use specific builds that I came up with in Super Circuit Maker, which I'm going to show in a second in more detail. So I put down a solar panel tier 2 to allow us to start building the whole system. First I'm going to start off with the segments and 1 power bank over here. Another segment goes there and a drawer over here, as well as a segment on top. And then I'm going to set those 2 segments to pull from the drawer to take the cobblestone and convert it into gravel, sand and flint. After the initial push of cobblestone, this drawer will run empty and one of the drawer will start picking up gravel, and then we have 1 segment crushing cobblestone and the other 2 are actually busy with the gravel that comes out of it. We put in our energy upgrades, there we go. Octatic capacitors, simply for more speed, and then of course connect the power cables, there we go. Okay. We're going to then put the cobblestone generator down with the transfer node and the simple pipe. You can use any other pipe if you like, I just love this one. And this one will then start pumping out the cobblestone from the cobblestone generator into the drawer where both segments start taking it if one is available. Then we take a conduit to connect all those different items, and each conduit will be set to in-out, where the inset however is limited. And we put sand on the blacklist. So gravel and flint can be exchanged between the machines. Sand, however, should not, because it would cut sand into silicon, which we don't want to have. Make sure to set the extraction to active, always active. There we go. And then we do the same for the other 2 machines as well. Oh, one thing as well is make sure that you put activate self-feed enabled, so that the machine can actually take its own gravel or its own flint to fill up its own systems with it. What I then like to do is actually I like to take a double drawer and put it on top, so that any excess gravel and flint can go in there. So, oops. Insert mode, put a filter as well, and this time we have a whitelist for flint and gravel. And that's it, that's our sand generation already. That's all we need to generate endless amounts of sand, which can then be piped into another drawer. Let me just put it like this. Oops. And this conduit will then also be set to input. Input, there we go, with an item filter for sand as a whitelist. So make sure that only sand goes in there. Excess flint and gravel goes into that one, and until then they're going to exchange every gravel and every flint with each other. You see here now, this one is filling up with gravel slowly, and this one is actually running low on items, and now it starts picking up the gravel, and at one point the 2 will constantly do gravel where 1 will constantly do cobblestone. I would highly recommend to put a void upgrade into those drawers, simply because the flint that is produced by the segments is way more than the segments actually use. So at one point the machines don't know where to put the flint. So make sure to either have void upgrade in there or some other overflow options, otherwise it's going to block your whole system and then nothing is produced anymore. Our next task is now to make sure that we transform the sand into soul sand, and therefore we need at first something to pipe the sand actually out. I'm personally a friend of Endio, simply because they're looking clean and tidy and can be modified with some filters and everything. And then from the bottom you're gonna place the precision dropper so it faces downwards. And also what you want to do is to slap a lever on it to make sure you can actually disable the droppings to control how much items you generate. The next step you're going to do is put the pressure plate right under it. That helps us to send a signal to the atomic reconstructor, which we have to place 2 blocks away. If you would place it next to it, it would receive a redstone signal from the plate and would then just deactivate. This one, however, goes to pulse mode as well, to make sure it doesn't fire continuously, only when we tell it to do so. Okay, just give it some power over here. There we go. And of course we need the range collector to make sure we pick up the soul sand when it is done. Simply tell him to whitelist soul sand, so it will only pick up soul sand and nothing else, and can then easily pipe it into this drawer over here. So now we come to the part that I actually like the most, because this mod is super awesome. I'm of course talking about the Super Circuit Maker. What you're going to need is the redstone circuit, you need some tiny pile of redstone, you need a subtractor, you need a pulsar, and you need a constant. So those are the items that you need. Let's at first pipe the redstone signal from there over here. Make sure to use the redstone conduit pipes, not regular redstone. First of all, because lag, and second of all, those pipes are actually lossless. You have no loss of redstone power by using those cables, which is important for our builds, because this plate sends out a signal that gets stronger the more items are on top of it. And that's what we can use to trigger a signal as soon as the redstone signal is strong enough. So first of all, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, there we go. So at first we're going to want to accept the signal from there. So extend the cable to the end. There we go. Wait, what are you doing? And then shift click it to make it like this. Only if the cable looks like this, it is able to accept a signal. This one just sends a signal. That one accepts it. Very important. Then we have subtractor. Come on, there we go. And the subtractor gets a signal from the sides, which is generated by a constant. There we go. The constant here is set to 220 for the simple reason that this one sends a signal of 221 if there are 13 items on top of it. By the time the signal reaches the platform and the pulse starts ticking, a 14th item will drop, the laser will shoot and transform all 14 items. Easy as that. Why 14? Because that's the maximum amount that this laser can actually hit. And then we have a pulsar which receives the signal from there. Pulsar, there we go. And then transfers the signal into the laser. The pulsar is set up in a way. Oh, I think I did a boo-boo. No, wait. That's why. Ah! What I just said. It cannot accept the signal from there. It has to be like this. How the pulsar works is simple. He will send out a signal each set amount of ticks unless he gets this redstone signal from one side. The redstone signal disables the pulsar, and you want to set the pulsar to 25 ticks. If you just send it to 20, by the time the laser shoots and lifts the weight from the pressure plate, this one will shoot a second time, so you waste a laser and you waste lots of energy. So therefore, 25 is the setting that you should have here. Then of course make sure that this one is able to send out a signal, and this one is now able to send a signal into the reconstructor. And that's it. That's the full build. Shall we test it? Shall we? Let's try it. Let's try it out. Turn it on. Oh, sorry. You might want to configure this one. Insert mode and extract mode. Always active. Nope, not to me. Okay, you see now? The pressure plates get active, and this signal gets stronger and stronger and stronger until this signal cancelled out the permanent due to the subtractor. And as soon as that happens, the pulsar gets active and sends out the pulse, which then activates the laser. And that's it. That's how we trick the system to only fire a laser if there are enough items. Sometimes you will see something like this. The items will actually collect in front of the platform, so never activate the laser. That's not a big deal, because as soon as you have 64 sandbox over there, this one will start filling up again. Let's watch it. And then suddenly the laser shoots and push back all the items. And then we continue to shoot the laser until there's enough room on the platform again. So the system is self-regulating. You don't have to worry too much about it. It cannot fall off left or right because of the cables. If you want to be ultra safe, you can use some facades as well, or find a different build. But overall, I found this way of building it very, very consistent, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Okay, and then let's start and see how much time or how much souls we can generate within 1 minute. I'm gonna put on some speed on the video so you don't have to wait a full minute. See you in a bit. And there we go. Getting the last seconds. Oh, there are some. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So about 100, almost 170 soul sand per minute. Think of it. 170 soul sand per minute. If we calculate that, we will come to over 10,000 soul sand every hour with that machine over here. I'm not sure what you're going to do with all those juicy soul sand. Maybe you want to build your base out of it, or just, as I said, flood the server with soul sand. That's entirely up to you. I just wanted to show you the build because I think it's actually very awesome, and I'm definitely going to use it in my own worlds. I really hope you liked my video and it helped you to overcome the soul sand crisis on your own worlds, or just generate lots and lots and lots and lots of soul sand for yourself. If you enjoyed watching the video and found it helpful, please leave a like. If you have some updates or improvements, or just want to showcase your own build, I am more than happy about any kind of feedback that I can get, because I'm just starting in this whole YouTube world. If you are a German player watching right now, you might want to check out my Let's Play series for the Sky Factory, which is also a new project for myself. And if you want to be informed whenever there's new content coming out, please subscribe to this channel as well. That would be really appreciated and helps a lot. Anyway, I hope you have a good day or good night or whatever time it is when you're watching it. And see you next time. Bye bye.